Hey everyone, this is Tyler Lampotter, and I'm a portfolio strategist here at Celigo. And today I want to show you how to sync inventory over to Amazon. So Amazon's got an upcoming deprecation for the post-inventory availability of data. And what they want you to do is move to the JSON listings feed, which is pretty much a universal feed for updating, deleting, adding listings, whether it's for inventory, pricing, or really anything else specific for products. In this case, I'm going to be just uploading and updating inventory, basically replicating the existing product inventory availability data feed. And I'm going to do this in Celigo here. So if I hop over into my flow, I've got a simple export that's just pulling inventory from Snowflake in this case. And if I preview this data here, you'll see I get SKU, ASN, which I don't need now. I've got available to sell, and another field that I don't need. So really, you just need SKU and available to sell. Once I've got my inventory, this could be again from Snowflake, NetSuite, whatever source application. Then I'm going to Amazon, and so there's a couple of different ways you can do this. Amazon accepts a feed, in which case basically you send the thousands of items at once to update, or you can send like one item at a time. The only issue with the item at a time is you end up hitting rate limits against Amazon, and it can be slower overall. And so typically they recommend using their bulk uploads, which are their feed documents in this case. All right, so I've created an Amazon import. On my connection here, I've set to use the hybrid selling partner API, SP API. You could use the one that's not SP API and MWS, could just be the SP API. I'm going to put my HTTP method to post, use the feeds document API. Once I input this relative URL for the documents API, I'm going to get this feed type available, and I'm just going to choose JSON listings feed in the dropdown. Then you're going to want to build your request body to create this feed. So what the Celigo Amazon connector does is it does a lot of the behind the scenes stuff for you. So really you just need to build the body with the data that you need to send. So let's make this request body. And for your entire body, you've got this header, which is your seller ID, which would be the connection in this case. You can see its reference over here, version 2.0. And then you've got this messages array. And so what we're going to do is loop through the data here, and each message is going to be a different SKU. So I've got the message ID as just an index position of the array of data. Then I've got the SKU reference here, product type, and it's going to be a patch operation in this case. Then my patch operation is going to be a replace of the fulfillment availability. And then we're just going to send the quantity. So that's where I've got this available to sell reference at this point. So if I preview this here, you'll see I've got the header with my seller ID. I've got the quantity here, and I've got my SKU. And when I have multiple items here, so if I just copy paste this down below and just put a random SKU in here, you'll see I get a second message with message ID 2, and then my other SKU. And so that's pretty much it for building the body. And then you want to build what we call an async helper. So essentially how this feed works is you send the feed off. You send basically your thousands of items at once. Amazon takes some time to process it, and then they return back the results, whether certain items were successful or certain items failed. And in this case, we basically poll Amazon every minute to check what the status of that feed is. So every minute we check, is it done or is it in progress still? And then once it's in a done status, we pull those results back. And so if you come down under the advanced section, you'll enable the configure async helper, and then you're going to create an async helper. So I've already created one, so I'll go into just the edit of it. And you can name it whatever you want. And then first, I'm going to add a couple fields in here. So I'm going to put status path. In this case, it's going to be processing status. Essentially what this means is when we call the status export, the response of that, what's the path to the status? So I've got in queue, so my in progress values are in queue, in progress. My done values are done. My done without data values, it's canceled, and then error is just fatal, meaning the whole entire batch failed out. And so first we want to check how do I get the status of the feed. So I'm going to edit this existing export. Again, you would choose your Amazon connection, selling partner API, get call, and then you're going to ping this feeds API with the feed ID. And this is where it gets a little, the UI isn't super set up for async helpers, but essentially what this is, it's a reference to that initial call. So when we made this first post call with all the data and the feed, we get this feed ID available to us. So when you need to reference it, it's just data dot and then whatever the field is from that response. So in this case, data dot feed ID. And then export type just all, and that should be about everything you need here. And then from here, then you're going to tell Celigo, how do I want to get the results, or how do I get the results for this feed? And I'll edit this results. And here again, choosing the Amazon connection, selling partner API, get call. And in this case, we have a second reference, and it's to the response of the status export. So it's essentially, I send the feed, I check the status, and then I get the results. So in this case, it's data.status res, which is short for status results, and then dot whatever the response from that result is. In this case, it's the result feed document ID. And that's what we need to grab the actual results from Amazon. So I'll put this relative URL in, I'll get all, and then lastly, I'll set my path to issues. So this is going to give me the errors that were in that feed, and then those errors will display in the UI. And that's pretty much it. So then you can save and run, and it'll take, a couple minutes to export and then for it to pull the status. But once it's done, you'll get in progress and get status of all successful or errors for specific items that failed out. And that's pretty much it for async helpers and sending inventory to Amazon for the upcoming deprecation of the existing post inventory availability feed. All right, let me know if you have any questions, and see you on the next one.